Hello, good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our Futures for Frontliners presentation and info session. My name is Jason Schuler, and I'm the Assistant Director of Enrollment for Grand Rapids Community College. I'm also joined by Ann Isaacson, who's our Associate Dean of Enrollment Management.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
We're going to start out with a short video here and then get into the presentation and then have a time for questions and answers following. So stay tuned for this quick video.
If you've been at the front lines as an essential worker during the pandemic, attending college at GRCC could be totally free for you. Futures for Frontliners is a state scholarship giving free tuition to get an associate degree or certificate. If you worked in healthcare and public health, food and agriculture, public safety, critical manufacturing, or any of the 15 identified industries, you could qualify for free college. Bump up your earning potential in a current or future career with an associate degree or certificate. Or start here at GRCC and transfer to a four-year college having zero debt. There are 3 simple steps. Apply for the Futures for Frontliners Scholarship, apply to GRCC, and complete the FAFSA. The deadline to apply for the scholarship is December 31st, 2020. To learn more, visit grcc.edu/futures for frontliners. You can also contact us by phone, email, or text. If you've been thinking about going to college, now is the right time, and GRCC, West Michigan's best choice, is the right place for you.
All right, let me share my screen here with you a second and we will get started. This goes away. There we go. Again, welcome to our Futures for Frontliners presentation. We're going to go over kind of 3 steps with the presentation today. Information about the scholarship, who's eligible for it and what it covers at GRCC, applying to GRCC, financial aid and FAFSA process, and then we'll finally conclude with any questions that you might have. So let's get started. Who is eligible for the scholarship? As you can see listed, bullet points on the left side, this is a tuition-free program to help cover your cost at GRCC to earn a certificate or associate's degree. It lists all the criteria there on the left side. You have to be a Michigan resident. You must have earned a high school diploma, GED, or be working on it while you're using the scholarship. This can be a little bit more tricky, so I'm going to explain that briefly. If you've earned a high school diploma or a GED, you're eligible for the scholarship. If you have not completed high school yet, or you're working on your GED, you must be working toward completion of it while you're earning the scholarship. So you can take classes at GRCC with a Future for Frontliners scholarship, but you also have to be working on completing your high school diploma or working to obtain a GED at the same time. So if you haven't earned it yet, don't worry, you'll still be eligible for the scholarship. Another big point of it is that you have to have worked at least part-time between April 1st and June 30th outside of the home. That really determines your eligibility for the scholarship. So if you were working as a frontliner or in an essential industry during that time period, at least part-time outside of the home, you will be eligible for the scholarship. You have not been able to earn an associate's or bachelor's degree yet, then you'll be eligible for the scholarship. So students who have attained a 2-year associate's or a 4-year degree from another college, in-state or out-of-state, unfortunately would not be eligible for the scholarship. You also have not been able, or excuse me, you will not have defaulted on a student loan is one of the other criteria, and you must apply for the scholarship, as the video mentioned, by December 31st at 11:59 p.m. I should have mentioned this earlier. If you have a pen or paper on you, grab it or put some notes in your phone, because there's a couple of deadlines and phone numbers that I'm going to give you that can be important to help you with the process. Again, just want to highlight, this is for essential industry and frontline workers who did work between that time period that I have listed on there of April 1st to June 30th of this past year. So what is an essential industry or frontline worker? Here's all the job descriptions listed for it if you worked in one of those sectors or job industries. The customer care center number that I put on the top right, that 517-636-7000 number, we encourage you to call that to see if what you did during that time period for work fits into one of the categories here on the left side. Now, if you look at it, now no one has a job title that says energy or hazardous materials. So if you're questioning whether your job fit into one of those job categories, we certainly encourage you to call that number. You'll see listed on the very bottom, which I wanted to highlight, the home aid and childcare. If you provided home aid to someone, or if you provided childcare, you could still be working in your home, but that would count as part of an essential industry or frontline worker. So that would still make you eligible for this scholarship. This is also found on the michigan.gov/frontliners website with the job descriptions and any questions that you may have to see, hey, did what I do during that time period count and make myself eligible for this scholarship? So that's a little bit about the scholarship. Now, how does this fit in? So you found out you're eligible for the scholarship, which is great. Now, what do I have to do to maintain that eligibility while taking classes at GRCC? First point up there, you have to start taking classes next calendar year of 2021. Our winter semester begins in the early part of January. We have 3 semesters at GRCC. We have our winter semester, which is our next one coming up. We have our spring semester, and then we have our fall semester, which we're in right now. During that time period while you're in school for the next calendar year and the ones following, you have to be enrolled at 3 semesters and be at least a part-time student in 2 of those 3 semesters. You certainly could go full-time all year round in the winter, summer, and then fall, but life comes up, things happen. There's outside commitments of school, family, friends, work, of course. So if you have to take a semester off, you can still maintain your eligibility. It's key that to remember 2 of those 3 semesters you have to be enrolled in and at least part-time. You could do a combination of it. You could go full-time from the winter. You could take a couple classes to be part-time in the summer. If you have to take the fall off, so be it, but that would still maintain your eligibility. If you've taken classes at another college, that will not disqualify you for the scholarship. And in fact, that will certainly help move your degree forward. We encourage you and ask that you send us any transcripts for any other college that you attended to, in-state or out-of-state, whether it's a community college or 4-year school. We will evaluate those credits and see if we can put any of your previously earned coursework toward your certificate or associate's degree at GRCC. Of course, we're here to help with it. Our campus is open, our enrollment staff and financial aid, our academic advising office. So if you need any help throughout navigating the application process or financial aid process with GRCC, we're certainly here to help. All right, there's 3 steps. We kind of have them listed in order of what to do to apply for the scholarship in GRCC. First, we'd ask that you complete the future scholarship application. And again, that deadline is December 31st. Please know that we do not determine if you are eligible for the scholarship. And by we, I mean GRCC. The state will determine if you are eligible for the Futures for Frontliners scholarship. So any questions you have regarding your eligibility, certainly direct that toward the state of Michigan. And for information, you can look at the michigan.gov website. The second step would be to apply to GRCC. You would fill out an application and apply to us. If you have attended GRCC before, or if you apply to GRCC, you will not need to apply again. And that's when I would encourage you to contact our admissions and enrollment office, and we can let you know what your next steps are, where you left off. But if you've applied once to GRCC or attended, you do not need to apply again. Third step is you would want to complete a financial aid form. That's a free application for federal student aid, and that will then make you eligible for the scholarship if you're awarded it as well. The 3 steps here, again, kind of matching what we just saw on the previous screen, but you want to apply for the future scholarship first. Again, that website is listed on the top left there, the michigan.gov/frontliners. If you create an account through the state of Michigan, you will be able to track your status, the status of your application. Did you apply correctly? Has it been reviewed? Have you been awarded? Have you unfortunately not been awarded? So when you apply for it, we do encourage you to create an account so you can track when your scholarship application is anticipated to be reviewed, and if there's anything missing or other things they want you to complete with it. And that number is listed again there. You'll want to apply to GRCC if you have not done so already. Our application is right in the middle top part of our homepage, grcc.edu, and there you can apply to our college. All transcripts that you've have from any previous institution, whether it's a 2-year, 4-year school, and your high school transcripts and test scores, you'll want to send to us. So you graduated from high school, you took the ACT or SAT, we'd want to receive those. If you've attended any other college, we want to receive your official transcripts from there. Once we get all those documents, we'll then let you know if you have to take any of our placement tests. We have 3 placement tests that you'll take. It's a reading and writing section. It's called our AccuPlacer test. along with our ALEX math assessment. These can be taken on campus right now, but we still are offering them remotely, so you could take it from home. Please keep in mind, these are not pass or fail tests. You will be accepted to GRCC, but there's just an assessment so we can place you in the right classes to start. And if you have any questions about the application process, our phone number is listed on the bottom there for our enrollment center at 616-234-3300. You'll also want to complete the free application for federal student aid for the 2020-2021 school year. That application can be found at FAFSA.gov. Once you've completed the application and submitted it, we will then receive it about a week or two later, and we'll let you know if there's any additional documentations that we need from you to verify the information that was put on your FAFSA form. You can contact our financial aid office. Our staff is more than happy to assist you through text, email, or phone. And I did list the number for our financial aid office on the bottom right there. But our financial aid office is open on campus, so we still will help you in person if you want to come in with assistance in filling out your FAFSA. All right, so big thing is, what does the Future for Frontliners Scholarship cover as far as tuition goes? If you live in the Kent Intermediate School District, it will cover all of your tuition and institutional fees. All of our institutional fees are listed on the right side, so our student records, technology, facilities fee, and campus activities fees, those are all covered in the scholarship as well as your tuition. Students are responsible for any online or course fees. That will not be covered by the scholarship, but again, if you live in the Kent Intermediate School District, your tuition will be covered. If you live outside of the Kent Intermediate School District, so somewhere else in the state of Michigan, we will cover your tuition at the resident tuition rate, which is students who live in the Kent Intermediate School District. That's covered. Again, for those outside of it, you will just have to pay the difference for that. So again, if you're resident tuition, or excuse me, live in Kent Intermediate School District, that tuition is covered. Students living outside of that, they do pay a higher tuition rate, and students will be responsible for that difference. But again, a good chunk of your tuition would be covered, as well as all of your semester fees by the scholarship. Of course, tuition, some fees, books most people think of when think about the cost of attending college, but we didn't want to mention a few other things that you will want to plan for as far as expenses goes and helping you formulate a budget for attending GRCC. You will keep in mind supplies if you need any supplies for a course. If you want to get yourself a laptop or an iPad, you would want to consider that as a planned additional expense or cost. Any transportation, whether you have to drive downtown to GRCC or possibly parking, that would be an additional expense you want to pay for. And if you have kids at home, the cost of childcare or babysitter, you would want to plan for that expense over the course of time you're earning your degree at GRCC. All right, and on to the last slide. Again, that's why I wanted the paper and pen. If you can jot down a few of these numbers and ways to get a hold of us. The Futures for Frontliners hotline, that's our own GRCC hotline. If you have any questions about the scholarship or your programs of study at GRCC or applying, jot down that number. That's 616-234-3344. You can visit our website too at grcc.edu/Futures for Frontliners. Email is the best way to get a hold of us for you, futuresforfrontliners@grcc.edu. And I hope that bottom bullet isn't cut off, but that's to text us with any questions that you might have about attending GRCC using the scholarship. That's 616-404-4519. But again, thank you for working during that time to keep Michigan running, to help provide essential services and business for all of us who needed it over those couple months this past spring and summer. And thank you for your service to Michigan. I'll now turn it over to Ann, who will be facilitating any questions we might have.
Thanks, Jason, and hi, everybody. I've been monitoring things. I don't see any questions in the chat. However, I do want to maybe cover some additional questions that we've received in past presentations so that information might be helpful to you. We have had folks ask about what programs of study are eligible. So it would be any of our associate degree programs will be covered by Futures for Frontliners, as well as the vast majority of our certificate programs. And that includes our 18 and 22-week job training programs. So a pretty wide variety of programming available for you. Hopefully you will find something that is interesting to you so that you can begin your program of study here. Some folks have said that they have the Grand Rapids Promise Zone, and they wondered how Futures for Frontliners would work with the Promise Zone. And basically, Futures for Frontliners would pay first, and then the Promise Zone would pay any remaining charges after that. And also, Promise does offer a stipend for books. Let's see. We have had some folks who have wondered about what they should do if they're currently attending a four-year institution, but they do want to use Futures for Frontliners. If you are currently attending a four-year institution but want to make use of Futures for Frontliners, you would have to attend GRCC as a degree-seeking student, either seeking a certificate program or a degree program. And you would also need to update your FAFSA, or your free application for federal student aid, to include GRCC school code, and also advise your current college or university of your plans so that you can make a smooth transition. And then, of course, after earning your certificate or associate degree, if your plan is to resume attendance at the four-year, you can do that, but you've obviously saved quite a bit of money. Jason mentioned earlier as well that there's a cost savings even for those students that don't live in Kent Intermediate School District and who are being charged the out-of-district rate. It is, while it's not completely free tuition, it is a very substantial cost savings of about 47%. So still definitely worth your while to try to take advantage of the Futures for Frontliners program. We have also heard from some students who don't have a high school diploma or GED, and Jason may have referred to this earlier, but you can still take advantage of Futures for Frontliners if you don't have a high school diploma. There are two pathways, one for students who've already completed a high school diploma or GED, and another for students who haven't earned that high school diploma or GED, and they can get funding in order to help them do the GED, as well as then move forward to do coursework at GRCC. So there are two separate applications. We encourage you to go out to michigan.gov/frontliners for additional information on that. And right now I see that we still don't have any additional questions, but I would really recommend, if you can, to reach out to us via email or phone or text, especially if you don't feel comfortable asking your question in a large format. We're here to help you. And we are typically able to respond back within the same day or within 24 hours. So really, please feel free to reach out to us. We appreciate your time and your attention to the presentation. And again, we want to thank you for your service to the state of Michigan. We all appreciate it very much. Take care and have a good evening.